You are listening to Arts on the Air, a bi-weekly-ish interview show dedicated to Savannah, Georgia's artists, musicians, and authors. Each episode will feature a guest in conversation about their philosophy, practice, and current projects, as well as their thoughts on the state of the arts in our community of Savannah. Our theme music is a clip of Summer Nights by the Eric Jones Trio. It's provided by our friend Mark Chesanow, who plays with the Eric Jones Trio every Thursday and Sunday at Good Times Jazz Bar downtown. Hey everyone, welcome to Arts on the Air. This is Tamara Garvey and I'm with Matt Eckstine, local musician. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Wanted to start off just super recently. You had cool shows that you played with the Savannah Philharmonic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the holiday shows. How did you get involved with those?
Well, it was definitely one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. And Ricardo Ochoa is a violinist, and this was a show that he produced. He invited me.
Oh, cool.
And it was kind of a new concept for them, where they were wanting to kind of shake things up a little bit, maybe bring in some local talent to sing in front of the Philharmonic.
Yeah.
So what an honor to be one of those people that got chose, you know?
Yeah, so it was almost like a mashup of like traditional classical instruments and then kind of folksy local people.
Yeah, like in blues and jazz.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Why was it? So it was called Holiday Stories of Savannah. Was it kind of Savannah-centered songs or?
Not really songs, but what it was you had the Philharmonic was doing their some beautiful Christmas songs or holiday songs. Like they did Hanukkah songs. They did all kinds of different stuff.
That's
yeah,
nice.
And they would play these videos in between a song, and it would be somebody in the community here in Savannah from all different parts of the community telling a story about growing up here or, you know, the holidays here.
Oh.
And then you would go into the next song, and then they had about four or five different people come out and play a few songs or sing a few songs. Like Eric Culberson did a few songs, Lake and Love, Teddy Adams, myself, and I think that was it. You know, and it was great. And then at the end, we all did John Lennon's Happy Christmas. War is Over.
You all jammed out together?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And it was I mean,
that's so cool.
Beautiful moment.
That's like that classic Band-Aid song of all the musicians together, right?
I mean, it's kind of like We Are the World, in a way.
What a cool thing. I didn't realize it was going to be intercut with people speaking of stories of Savannah. That's very cool.
Yeah, so it was just in the Lucas Theater, which is
beautiful.
You know, when you love being a performer and you're in that kind of a space, you can't help but go, well, this is why I got into this business.
I bet when you step out, it's just like the grandeur of looking out at the theater must be really fun.
It is. It's a beautiful place. I've played, that was my third time doing a show there.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's too bad he only, that it was just one day. Do you think that there's a chance that he is able to get that theater and do future things like this again?
Well, I certainly hope so.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
I'd be there wearing a bow, you know? For sure.
You'd be there with bells on.
I would.
Playing a bell.
Yes.
Okay. So speaking of instruments, so you play primarily guitar and sing, is that right?
Yes, those are my main things.
Okay. When did you first start getting into learning guitar?
Like probably 6th grade.
Okay.
I think that's when I had a buddy who was playing Metallica riffs in his bedroom. And I was like, dude, you can do that? You know? He's like, and anyways, so I was like, well, if he's pulling that off, I think I could try.
Yeah.
You know?
So it was Metallica the first got you into it?
I mean, just seeing him playing like a riff that I knew.
Yeah.
You know? That I was like, whoa.
Did you kind of just like get a guitar and started teaching yourself through those music books that you buy at music stores?
I got my first guitar for a Christmas present. It was a red kind of like Stratocaster knockoff.
Cool.
And a little practice amp. And it came with a few guitar lessons. And the guy was really a cool guy, and he realized that what I wanted to do was learn how to play like this song by Green Day.
Yeah.
Or or Nirvana. I think it was "Come As You Are." But it was like an easy song.
that was like, I think one of the only things I ever learned was how to play "Come As You Are."
Yeah. I think
guitar.
it's a classic thing
easy
for a guitar teacher.
Yeah.
To be like, dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Ma.
Yeah, for me, it was my stepbrother taught me that.
Yeah. Well, look at that. We have deep roots.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, that kind of got me going, and then I learned how to play the power chord, which is just a simple. For people that don't play guitar, it's just a simple way to move around and play notes, but like you learn just one pattern.
Okay.
And you don't have to learn all these different places to put your fingers. It's the same, and then you move it around. And like the Ramones music was all that.
I would think, especially like if you're young and you have kind of small hands, does that sort of make it easier?
It definitely made it easy. I think I started a band with some of my best friends, and we were like, it was like a little gang.
Yeah.
You
were doing covers of the like grunge music.
We were doing Blink-182 generally.
Okay.
Like that was our Green Day, Blink-182.
Yeah.
Like pop punk music.
Was singing, was that hard for you to get into like being the singer, or were you from the beginning you thought you wanted to sing in front of people too?
Yeah, I did want to do that. Yeah.
You weren't ever nervous about that?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Eyes were closed for a long time.
Okay, so you went through high school doing that. Where did you grow up?
In the Cleveland, Ohio area.
Okay. And then what brought you to Savannah?
I moved to Beaufort, South Carolina about a year after high school. I went to college for a year and a semester. Okay. And then I came home because I just kind of wasn't really seeing that it's expensive, and I just wasn't like seeing like me being very interested in anything at the time.
You were just interested in music as a career?
No, I was not really thinking of music as a career at that point. Okay. I was like, maybe I should go to business school, or maybe I should, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let me go home and work for the summer. My family had a tire business, so I did that. Yeah. And then I saved some money, and I was going to do something. I just wanted to go somewhere new. Classic Ohio boy. Like, I gotta get out of here. Like,
you have to go either east or west.
I have to go somewhere. Ocean's calling me. Yeah. And there was an opportunity to move to Beaufort, South Carolina, which is only an hour away from Savannah.
That seems so random. I can't imagine even
a family there.
Heard of Beaufort. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful little town. And the job was I could come down and I could work in the kitchen at this restaurant that they just opened up. And they also were like, we know you play guitar and sing well. And this is my aunt and uncle, by the way. I'm sorry. And so there was already like an opportunity to have a gig.
Oh, that's great.
Every Friday.
You were going to be their house band.
Yeah, and then it turned into like I call him my uncle. It's my aunt's brother, but he's my Uncle Jeff, and he really helped me learn like songs that were, I would consider like Southern in a way, just songs I didn't grow up with, like The Weight, just a different playlist.
Like this kind of 60s and 70s Southern
jam like
bands.
Alabama or Marshall Tucker or, just like a different kind of music that I loved, and I was interested in like the blues too at this point. So like there was this idea of like, I'm gonna go down and like there's gonna be great music, which there was. Yeah. So that was great.
So you're interested in expanding culturally.
Yeah, and just was interested in everything and just being like, let me try something new. And I loved Beaufort. I started playing music there immediately. Within 2 years, I was starting to book solo gigs or duo gigs, and
so every Friday night you were playing at this restaurant?
Yeah, for a few years.
Okay. It was just you singing and playing guitar?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and like we weren't even plugged in. We were just, because it was a very small room, so that was cool. Yeah. And I think we ended up eventually plugging in and all that too.
Okay.
But it started out like pretty. Yeah, we went. Yeah, it was like exactly. It was like Dylan went electric.
Yeah, you were just like Dylan.
Just like that.
And then like people are eating this restaurant, and you, I'm sure, like word would get out really quickly, and so you get other gigs.
It was great, like Yes, it was great practice to kind of learn how to perform to like an audience that was also, eating dinner and
a like captive audience.
Like a semi-captive audience. Like it was like how it was to blend in, but also there was a lot of people there that were enjoying it for sure.
Oh yeah, I guess like working out the level of how like obtrusive you're supposed to be in a situation like that.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was a very good learning curve for that because it was different. You know?
Yeah, different than just like
a concert.
Where they're looking in your ear the whole thing.
Yeah. So it was nice. Cool. It's kind of and then.
So during that period, did you start to think that like that it might be possible to just do it?
I just think at that point in my life, like I was in my young 20s, I just was like, I wanted to do music, loved it. I loved music, but it's just one of those things that kind of started picking up where I was doing maybe 2 a week. Yeah. And I worked at a cool restaurant where I waited tables. I was the worst server they ever had too. But I had fun, and it was I was playing at that restaurant. They used to go, "Hey Matt, when you're done with this last round of tables, like go play, let play because it's gonna be a good night."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I was playing.
So you could just jump up there anytime.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was playing there, and I met somebody who. And I got cards made, like I had just gotten my card made, my first one, and I gave a card to a table, and they were like, "This was great. Like, we do booking in Savannah, or I'm like, cool, like let me know." Yeah. And I got lucky. The person that was booked to open up the Bohemian Hotel in Savannah, this was in 2008. Mm-hmm. I guess that musician fell through, so they called me because they had my card, right?
Wow.
So, and I did the opening weekend.
The opening of the hotel?
At that hotel, and I was not ready for that.
Yeah.
Like I borrowed a PA from my sound system from like somebody else.
Like they call you to do the show and you're like, sure, I could do that. And
I didn't even have like a real pickup in my guitar.
Yeah. But you made it work.
I just went up there and it worked out, and they were, "Do you want to do this next weekend?" I'm like, "Absolutely." Yeah. And then they were like, "Do you want to do this for the rest of the month?" And I was like, "Yes." And at that point, I just moved to Savannah.
Oh, okay.
I was like, "I'm moving to Savannah." Like,
wow.
Because it was, I was like, "This is, it's time to move to Savannah."
Yeah, it's obviously way bigger here. Before that? Were you already like from Beaufort? Were you already coming to Savannah a bit and seeing it and
not
learning?
really.
Oh, okay.
I'd been a few times. I came to St. Patrick's Day. Because I do have some very dear friends, really kind of like family friends in a way, like that live in Savannah. So I had the best people ever to call and help me, or like have any questions for them. They helped me with like I found the right landlord, for the first everything was I was lucky that.
Also, if it was like 2008 era, I lived here then too, and it was a lot easier, and it was crazy cheap. And
I was downtown, and it was I don't even want to say how cheap it was because it's just not fair.
Okay, so you had this like steady gig at the Bohemian, and then you moved here. And do you remember like kind of the music scene in general, like other places that you would go out to? I'm imagining the Jinx you would go to a lot.
I remember everything really.
Yeah.
I do. I would always go to the Mercury Lounge. It was now it's next, whatever it's called now, Barrel House maybe.
Yeah. It's always something.
And they had the Rat Pack mural behind the band, and I would see. The first person I saw was Eric Culberson band.
Oh really?
And I was like, holy shit, I got to get better.
Yeah.
Like like quick. And then I would see Bottles and Cans, Ray Lundy and those guys, and I think, holy shit, I got to get. Oh, sorry. I was like, I gotta get better. Yeah. And who else was what I see back then? It was yeah, you know, I definitely remember seeing those the train wrecks.
Yeah.
And I walked. You know, Eric Dunn is the bass player for them. He became so glad I met him so fast, and I wasn't afraid to go, hey man, like you seem really cool. like hey, can I tag along with you? You know, like I just kind of moved here, you know, and I started going to like the jam night down there. It was on. Oh, cool. What was it called? Fiddlers. They used to have a Tuesday jam night.
Yeah, I know. Like on River Street, there were a lot. River Street and Bay Street used to have a lot more.
And the Live Wire was Livewire was the music hall down there. They had a jam night, and
did you ever go to Bay Street Blues?
I've been. I that was not like a place that I would generally go to, but I've been in there numerous times over the years.
I remember going there for karaoke.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's been around a long time.
That would be. I think McDonough's was where I did that.
Yeah. Would you ever? Okay, so as somebody who was like professionally now playing guitar and singing, would you go around the karaoke nights just for fun to like try out new songs? It's like honing your voice in a way, or?
No, I definitely did not. Matter of fact, I really wasn't confident in my vocal abilities until the last few years. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I know why actually. I know exactly why. I started singing with this guy named Evan Rose, who's a talented musician in town here, and he's a bluegrass singer, and they know how to get their voice out above all those instruments, but they use one microphone. Mm-hmm. And I started singing with him a bunch, and I was like, same deal. I was like, I gotta get better, because like I have to be on the same volume with him. And and I told him that, and he's like, you did this for me. I was like, blah blah blah, like that's what it's about, you know?
Yeah.
Getting better, like.
So what does that mean? Getting better? Like,
just how to sing, how to project your voice, but in a way it's an art form. I think like anything, it's and once you learn how to do it, it's different. Some people have that, like, and they just have that. I've had to work really hard at everything that I do.
Yeah, and I guess nowadays there's like there's YouTube tutorials for everything. So if you need to learn something like that, you can like turn to that to help you. But
yeah,
I know when you're talking about when you first moved here in 2008, there wouldn't have been that as a method. When did that? Like, when did the YouTube? When did YouTube
phenom really be like everything I do? I'm like, I was like folding my suit pants last night. I'm like, how do I actually fold my suit pants?
Yeah, you can
put
turn
away?
It's amazing that
I learned.
It's so many selfless people who have taken the time to create a little video of themselves doing things.
They're, they're saints in their own way.
When my printer has a jam and it's not making prints well, I've had to turn to YouTube to learn how to clean out the inkwells in my printer. Crazy.
Yeah, I even like Googled what kind of pants should I wear the other day. I mean like it's getting out of control.
I did. It's funny that you were talking about your voice, because I did actually want to ask you if you had to like overtly work on it, and if it had changed, and just like the style that you're singing. Like, it sounds like when you started in high school, you were singing like Blink-182 and Green Day, and it was just sort of standard, like maybe yelling, and now you're this like kind of soft, nice, like Americana blues. If you'd had to like formally like come up with a voice that would be your voice.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think I was just like back in the high school days, I was just trying to sound. You're learning so much that you're just imitating.
Yeah.
Really. And I still imitate. I can imitate John Prine's voice. I can, and then it's after a few more runs, and especially when you get on stage, that stuff kind of falls away. Like the imitation falls away, and you just eventually, if you keep at it, I think you just find your voice.
Yeah. It's really the same, I guess, with painting as well, where they start you out just imitating other people and learning the materials. And
I still look at everything that way, like it's if you had all these paints on like all these colors, right? It's let me use that I'm going to use that like a little bit of a prime mannerism with this guitar.
Yeah.
It's like a little tip of the hat, and that's cool. And then it's like borrowing all these influences. Like, that's what all of our heroes have done, to some degree. every painter, like, because that's your thing, and
yeah,
or art, drawing, and they've all like something had caught their eye. They're like, wow, like I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And then it's like you have that in your arsenal now.
Everybody is like a stew, like a mix of your own things and then little things that influenced you.
And that's cool. I love to see the influence and in things. And I'm the first person to say, oh yeah, like totally. That is where I'm coming from with that.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. So if people know John Prine really well, they could like watch you perform and they would see, oh, this guy was definitely influenced by him.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty undeniable,
Okay, so I just wanted to go back. So you said when you first moved here, you had this regular thing at the Bohemian Hotel, which is really cool. And then gradually you just were joining other people's bands, kind of different places around town?
No, not that. Actually, that started going great. That whole thing was going fantastic, and
yeah,
they were like, we just want to work with you for the for perceivable future. I'm like, okay, like what does that mean? Does that mean like 3 months? Does that mean? And they're like, let's just do the year.
So you had like a contract, kind of?
I had a verbal contract. You know what I mean, kind of thing. But I was like, okay.
You had a handshake agreement.
I did.
Yeah.
And I felt good about it. I really did. And I checked in constantly. Yeah. But it was a very awesome thing. And I said, can I have a budget for a band? Just to see what they said.
Yeah.
So I got 1 day a week where I got to put a band together. So I called it Eric Dunn, who's my buddy, and I said, man, I'm looking for a bass player first, and I got, he was like, man, my friend Zach, I'm gonna try to talk like Dunn. He's like, yeah, man, like he's heading home from out west. He's like driving now, I was like, well, tell him that I want to meet him and let's play some music. Mm-hmm. So we got together and we played music, and I was like, all right, I love this dude. He's cool.
What
did
he
sounds
play?
Great. Upright bass, and sang harmony with me, and we just had a great time. And
nice.
And we were just like, I guess I would have been like, how old would I have been? Early 20s. And I mean, I was like, we're gonna do it. We're gonna take over the world, man.
Yeah.
Or just like, I mean, we were just like being silly like that. Like no, like this is great. Like let's work on it. Let's practice.
Where would you practice?
Just at my house, at my apartment on Lincoln downtown.
Okay.
I lived in a Victorian, like really huge, just like the weirdest like layout ever. Just like this giant room.
Yeah.
And then like a tiny weird hallway, and then like a scary bedroom. I was like terrified of that bedroom. I was just but it was.
It was probably haunted.
It was. I never like felt super comfortable in there.
Yeah.
But
so you had a room where you had like all the instruments set up, and that's where you guys.
That was just my living room.
Yeah.
Like and the what would you call it? Like a parlor. I had like a huge parlor.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a big porch, and like it was beautiful. We practiced there.
Yeah.
And then we started going to the open mics, doing our thing, right? To meet people. We met a great drummer, and we did that for a while. And we were called the Accomplices. That's how that started. And that thing just started growing, and we met Colleen, who's a fiddle player, and we kind of turned more into like the string band, going for like the Lumineers, Mumford and Sons era.
Yeah, it was that era.
It was that era, totally. And we did great. And
were you guys writing songs together?
Yeah,
too?
we were. And Jason, there's a guy, Jason Bible. He's you should interview him sometime. Okay. Very interesting artist and songwriter, and he was just really supportive, and I was like, man, they're already making records. Like they're making their second record. I'm like, whoa, like I want to make an album and have a CD, like in a jewel case.
Yeah, a physical thing.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like that was early enough that was still the medium. Yeah, for sure. And we did it, and it just, and then. What
was his name again?
That's Jason. I was talking. Jason Bible is the Trainwrecks.
Okay.
But he was when he was making albums, that kind of I was like, oh, like it was the same thing where I saw the other musicians. I was like, I need to be on that level.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah, you're like looking ahead for a level up.
Yeah, like you have to, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't know if you meant that he was the one who like helped you guys record or.
No, just the inspiration of like, well, they're doing it. They're making records.
Yeah.
And I was just like, we need to do that.
How did you guys record?
We recorded the same studio that a lot of us did. It was Elevated Basement Studios here.
Yeah.
And Kevin Rose was he like produced and engineered our first one, and I think I've done 4 records with Kevin.
And that was around until just like a year or two, like kind of recently, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had that studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did the recording process go? Were there surprises at all, or?
It was awesome.
Yeah. Was it like what you'd always dreamed of?
Yeah, it was fun. It was great, and it's also like extremely frustrating, but it was the first one was great.
Yeah. Were there technical things that surprised you at all, or that you had to really learn about?
Oh yeah, you're like, oh, that's what I sound like, huh? Well, that's not gonna do.
Yeah, listening to your own voice is painful.
Let me go back. Let me come back to that tomorrow.
Yeah, I had that when I was first started to do this interview and editing it. Then listening to your own voice is really painful, but over time it just becomes like an objective thing where I hear it and I'm able to just be like, all right, well that's what my voice is. I got to edit this thing.
Yeah, there's a learning curve to it, and Kevin was cool because he was confident. In what he's doing. Yeah. And he also had like a very calming quality to him. He didn't give you much either way, which was okay. It's kind of like nice in a way but if it was good, he would be like, yeah, like that one was, I think that's the one right there.
He was understated.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice way to be. Yeah. I think.
Did you, so during this period, did you have a day job too?
No, I haven't had a job, like a real, I've done some gigs, you could say, here and there over the years, but this is all I do is music.
So even back when you started and it was this bohemian thing?
Yeah, when I started in 2008, that was a goal. Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna try to just be a musician now.
That's cool. You could just live on it. I mean, again, like we said, the rents were very cheap back then, so that you were able to live on this.
Yeah, and I've done a few other things over the years. I used to work for Savannah Music Festival for production crew. I've done that. I've done,
different seasonal things.
Just little things like that I have done. But, it's just, I'm on full time.
That's amazing. Full timer.
Yeah.
So when you did that first album, what year was it that you did?
That would have been 2010.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Your album, and then you were performing around town. Were you did you go on tour outside of Savannah too?
We did. We were around though for almost 10 years.
Wow.
So by 2014 we were touring.
You just can't linger on, feeling so blue.
We would do usually a week to 2 week loops of the Southeast.
Okay.
That was kind of our thing.
Your zone.
And then we went out west a few times.
Yeah.
And that was super cool. That was new. And we were in we had a van, it was a 15 passenger old red church bus.
Oh, nice.
It still had the church's name and everything on the side. We're like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let's leave it alone.
So you looked like a group, like a Mormon singing group going around.
Yeah, we were a Baptist singing group riding down the road,
I love it.
And that was some good times. We were really tight. We practiced. We were very serious about that band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heading out of Buford, got my dog and my pickup truck. Going down to Georgia, try my luck. Ace and King, out on the draw. One of these days I'm gonna lose it all.
started going on a few tours outside of town in the southeast and then out west a little bit. And I was kind of curious how you put that together. Did you have a manager or booker or something like that?
So we were DIY, and Zach, who was the bass player, and he was kind of like a big part of like the face of the business, I think.
Yeah.
I was more the creative and music.
He was like the marketing.
And he was more the marketing and business, and he just did such a good job with that. And he just would do it. Like, he would just make the calls, make the emails, and we had a great package, of stuff to present to those venues. And
it seems like it's a lot of like administrative and planning work to reach out and organize and like schedule it to where you're driving around and it makes sense driving wise and all the arrangements.
It sure is. It definitely is.
It must be a real skill to do all that.
It must be, and I don't think I have it in me.
Yeah. So you guys are driving around in a little Baptist church bus.
Yeah.
Any really crazy story from the road? Anything that happened?
Well, I do know that we only broke down one time, and it was in Florida, and it was about an hour away from where my grandfather and grandmother lived in Florida. And he came to the rescue, and like he had all these tools, and then we ended up like getting it towed to this place, and we got to spend all this like a few days in their world, like, and that was probably
just with your grandparents.
Yeah. And like I knew them well, but like not as well because they'd been in Florida, right? So it was I really cherished that more than anything. That we like that the old bus decided to break down there.
So they hosted your whole band, basically.
Yeah, and it was so awesome. I mean, and they were all like, "Oh my God, Matt! Like, we totally like you make a lot more sense now after we saw your grandfather."
Oh, sweet, yeah.
Yeah, and that was cool. But
did your grandparents come to your next gig then?
They came to the gig that we had played that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like a movie, like breaking down, and then some long lost relatives take the whole band in, and then you have wacky things together.
And put it at Christmas in like a small town, and we have a Hallmark like plot like ready to go for 2024. And
then at the end, the grandparents come on stage and jam with you.
Yes, and okay.
Nice.
We can't give it all away.
Okay. All right. Well, so your band, the Accomplices, you guys were together for about 10 years total, you said?
It's right, around that.
When did that wind down?
So that would have ended in like 2017, maybe.
Okay. It seems like, that's a long time to keep like a group of people together doing a business together. Did it just sort of get hard, like personalities wise, it just wasn't working anymore, or?
I think that was okay. It was really more just, there was a couple in the band, and they were married, and they just were thinking of maybe moving somewhere else, kind of thing. Okay. And then a job kind of came up, and it made sense. So when that happened, it was very quick too. Like, it was like I don't think they expected like it to be like, oh my gosh, we're moving next month kind of thing. Yeah. But that's the way the jobs go with things. So that was like, okay, a big like, kind of like barreling down a mountainside in a way, like as far as your career goes, in a way you're like, okay, like that's because
you were surviving, like you were full time, you were surviving off this band playing
pretty much at that point in time. Like it was like that was the goal. The solo thing was really on the low simmer, in the back of the oven, kind of thing. So, and then that was just like that was like an interesting period, and it was like climbing a mountain,
So did you guys think, like the remaining members of the band, did you think for a while about just getting new people to replace them and keep the band going?
So like, no, because it was such a collective of like, we were 4-part harmony singers and stuff, so it was such a collective. But Stan, who's the drummer and one of my best friends, we have continued to play and work together. We work great. So we striked up a little quartet with some good players. Mark was in it. Mark Chesano,
Mark
great
Chesano,
bass
who does
player.
our intro and outro music for the show.
Wow. Hey, nice plug, Mark. Good job. And
and then who's the fourth?
That was just like floating around. It was just like kind of a loose thing. It was like Stan and I. We were called Chameleon Brotherhood, and we'll still play. I think I'm wearing a Chameleon Brotherhood shirt right now. Look at that.
Nice.
Repping my brand.
Subconsciously.
And then I did a solo record and started kind of focusing on that,
Yeah.
And
that's cool. So you said you guys were doing 4-part harmonies together. It sounds like the Mamas and the Papas, which is cool.
it could be, I think we were a little bit more in like the bluegrass territory of that kind of thing, but I'm not really, I wasn't raised or grew up listening to bluegrass music. I didn't even know about it until I was in my 20s, really.
When you came to Beaufort?
Kind of, like I Savannah, really, but I wasn't familiar with it as much.
So then you transitioned into like doing more solo, and you, for the first time in a long time, I guess you were writing songs by yourself.
Yeah. I'd always kind of done that. I always presented my songs to the band in a way, and then we would work them out.
Okay.
But so it was just me but I surrounded myself with great people, and just kind of started trying to figure out the next thing, and you just kind of you make mistakes, you do things that are good, like I certainly know I did things that looking back I'm like, well, I probably rushed that. I could have done that, but whatever. It's all like learning,
I'm not sure, I bet this looks like heaven. See that sail take to the breeze, and up above a southern sky, my whole dear mind, this looks like heaven.
So where were you playing out in public around this time?
I was playing just in kind of Savannah, and it was definitely like trying to figure it out, and then I don't really remember where I was playing per se, but I was playing a few times a week, I'm sure, in a restaurant or a little bar, and that I'm very comfortable in those places, and so it was easy. It just took me a minute to kind of get my confidence back, I think, really more than anything, Okay, so you did you had one album like right then initially when you became solo, and then I was reading on your website that I guess during the pandemic that was when you came up with and did your second album, I guess, is that right? When you were
second
kind of solo,
alone,
Lil Blue,
home alone in your home studio then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great. That's definitely, I'm very proud of that record, like how it came out, the songs I like, and just the experience was cool. It was like
very
my little
the like introversion of just being kind of alone with your thoughts for, like we all were, for quite a while, and then doing this whole project by yourself. Yeah,
I did, and I really did. I really clocked in on that, and I learned how to do all the. I watched so many YouTube videos on like how to mic this, how to put a microphone on a drum set, how to put a microphone on a saxophone, how to just everything was thanks for the internet. I was working from home like everybody else,
So did you play all those other instruments, or?
I played a lot of the instruments.
Okay.
I did have guests on there for certain things. I'm not really a drummer. I can play. I do percussion, but I always brought in a drummer, and I did a lot of the bass myself, but I had Mark play on a few tracks.
And the saxophone? You
I didn't do that, no.
Okay, somebody did.
Strings, guitars and stuff.
At some point, you buy yourself some recording equipment that you could do this all yourself?
Yeah, I've always had it, and I do love to record music, and I'll be recording again in January, and I will be recording some other people's music this winter too.
That's cool.
So
as a new project, you're kind of branching out into doing your own recording studio kind of thing?
Not like a studio, like a mobile thing. Okay. Like I'm more like it's more of a mobile thing, but right now I will have my house set up as a functional recording studio.
Will it be in the church bus? Are you putting the recording studio in there and that's mobile?
That's definitely one of the...
I like that idea.
The few regrets in my life is that I couldn't come up with the cash to buy that thing.
Okay.
Because it was a great van.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that album that you did during the pandemic, there was kind of a theme around that, right? Like the cover image is very beautiful. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. In Beaufort, where I lived, there's a beautiful beach hunting island out there. It's where the Forrest Gump Vietnam war scenes were filmed. It looks like that.
So it looks like the jungles of Vietnam.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, so there was these cabins that used to be out there on a cabin road, and with these hurricanes that came through in the past 10 years, the cabin road all got eroded and washed away. And there was one cabin out there still that was about, if you look at the picture on the album cover, it was like a high tide, and it's just this little blue shack cabin that's out on stilts, or in the middle of it looks like, it's just on the like 50 yards to 100 yards out into the water at high tide,
Yeah.
And even though the water is only 6 foot high or something there, it just looks so cool. And that was like, I felt like, and it made it through the storm a few years, and I was like, that's a song, like, I'm writing down that idea.
Yeah.
It was like a voice memo. I said to myself, like, okay, song about this cabin, like, there's a lot of metaphors here, there's like a heavy image.
Yeah, especially during the pandemic. It's by itself in the middle of this body of water.
Yeah, and I had these songs, and I was searching for a few more just to write to finish the album, and that I found that voice memo, and I was like, oh yeah, like that is a good idea. I like the song that came from it. There's a song called Lil Blue on that record too.
I get the funny feeling you'll be the end of me. With that tides are coming, follow along. Keeps on rolling, just like nature's song.
It was just like I felt like that was just how I felt in a way, or like how we all felt in a way, maybe like okay, like
the mood of this last standing
or something. Yeah, just like, okay, like there's this thing out there surrounded by the ocean. It's like getting knocked down every day.
Yeah.
But it's standing there and it's taking it, and it's like it made it through like this huge storm. So like we can too, or I can too.
Taylor Swift also took the pandemic opportunity to churn out a bunch of really introspective albums. I like that.
Yeah, she does. I want to be able to write more. I need to start writing more like that. So that's a goal of mine.
She's prolific, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, huh?
So you said starting in the beginning of 2020. So the show will air January 3rd. So you will be launching another album.
I'll be like in headphones, trying to figure it out.
I kind of wanted to talk. So recently it looked like you've done a bunch of really cool, just unusual specialty shows. Like we talked about this holiday one at the Philharmonic. You were in November. You were in this Traveling Wilburys tribute show.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's cool. What did you play for that? What song?
I was an acoustic guitar strummer, and I was cast to sing. All those harmonies, because that music has all those iconic singers.
Multiple singers.
And my range was kind of like the George Harrison range. Like kind of like that, or
you were like slotting in for his role, kind of.
In a way, like we didn't really define that, but like that's kind of. But us as like the background singers, like we kind of like found our like little groove, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be kind of like where Harrison is. You be the high where Jeff Lynne, You'll be like the low Tom Petty, Bob Dylan.
How does it go? So for these specialty shows that it was just like a one-time performance, how much rehearsal do you guys all do together for this?
That one took a lot of rehearsal.
Yeah.
I think that I probably clocked in, like with actual rehearsals, definitely over 24 hours.
Okay.
Definitely.
Like all at Victory North?
No, that was somebody had a wonderful garage for us.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, to get all those people together, it was so cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I worked with a bunch of people like in the last 2 months that I've never worked with. I'm a real lot. So that is so cool. You know?
I know that. So you mentioned when you first got to Savannah that you saw Eric Culberson, and I know he's like still around doing his. Have you ever played with him?
We just did the show together.
Okay.
At the Lucas.
All right.
Yeah,
nice.
we're buds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then the other one I kind of wanted to mention is that in October, I guess, there was that tribute show to Larry Jack, who passed away.
Yeah.
How would you describe him? He was a local man who was very, very supportive of the music scene for years, right?
Yeah, I love Larry Jack. I miss him so much. My life is not quite as fun. But I'll get it. But like I gotta make it more fun for like because like he taught me. Just
because he was always out at every show, really supportive.
Yeah, I mean, just like it was like you would, and then that turned into like a very deep friendship though. You know, like it started out as years of just like, oh my gosh, there's that smiling happy guy, and he would hand you like a CD of like, here, I'd record this, and it was like all cute, like a mixtape, you know?
He made mix
like
CDs
a Larry Jack bootleg.
Oh, nice.
And then like a picture of like the band, and it was just like it makes you know, it's like if we could all be more like that.
Yeah.
Like think how much happier
you
would make people, you know?
At this tribute show for him, were you guys, is it like playing his favorite songs basically?
We just did, that one was for the Larry Jack music concert. That was a true reuniting of the Accomplices.
Okay.
Yeah, and the first time in such a long time.
With the couple who'd moved away.
Yeah, and it was awesome. It was really cool.
Yeah.
We played. We didn't skip a beat. I swear.
Yeah, that's nice.
It was really. We were all couldn't be more happy with it. You know?
Where had they moved?
Colorado.
Oh, that's far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, excuse me.
So they can't just like pop back for shows a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm gonna try to get them to do more.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I kind of wanted to ask, on your website, you have a few like sort of videos, like kind of music videos you've done.
Oh yeah.
Is that like an area that you want to start branching into at all?
So like, there's no way on earth I could seriously like walk down like a hallway or like act for like a music video. Like it would have to be like total satire for me to do it. Like I could or it's just like me doing like that, because like that's like an interview or something, like that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, but like I wouldn't do that. I don't think that you need that anymore.
Because I guess the videos so far what you have are they're performance, right?
Kind of. There's one that where like I do like an interview before, and I'm like walking down the cobblestones, like, and like even like I like that, but like even like it makes me blush. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, come on, man.
So the idea of conceiving with like some kind of story or narrative or putting some other like visuals to it isn't really an avenue you want to.
Sure. It's all. I'm open to everything.
Yeah.
You know, I'll try it. You know, whatever I would try, I'm sure.
I saw that you have a couple of Christmas songs you've done, so you're basically like Mariah Carey.
Yeah. That's a good. There's still time.
Yeah.
Because this is all this being aired January 3rd.
January 3rd, right?
This is December 20th, or right?
We can drop in a little bit. I could play a little bit of your Christmas song.
Could you play? You could play the Christmas on cable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then I triple dog dare you, stick your tongue to the pole. Merry Christmas from the family, and the shitter's full, and old Santa's gonna be there.
And then another one I kind of wanted to ask, you have a ukulele song randomly?
Uku Mama?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that, when did you start playing the ukulele?
You know, I have to teach myself the chords every time. I have like the sheet I don't have one currently.
Okay.
But if Santa is listening out there, like, you know, maybe get an ukulele.
Well, I was randomly on the library website recently and clicked on like an intriguing sounding page, and the library rents out ukuleles.
Do they?
You have to reserve it, and then you can get it, and they have 2 sizes available.
That's cool.
So.
Do you play the ukulele?
Is that how you pronounce it? Am I saying it wrong? I've been saying ukulele.
You can say whatever you want.
I can?
I think so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I don't know how to play it. Like I just had played like a little bit of acoustic guitar in high school. And
Okay. Yeah.
some things like that. But maybe I would be better on the ukulele because I have really small hands.
Yeah, you know, hey, and the great thing is you just put one finger down on this one string, and then you play all the 4 strings, and it's a note. Like it's like a C chord or something.
Okay. So it's especially easy, basically?
It like to just strum 3 chords, and if anybody's interested in getting into music, I mean it. You can 3 chords in the truth, or 3 chords and a melody is most of what's going on.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
and then every now and then they'll throw in that little other chord that hurts your finger.
Just a random chord change.
Yeah, but you know, that's where a good place to start for sure. You know.
Cool. Do you have? I'm kind of curious, like your thoughts on the Savannah music scene at this moment, since you've been here since 2008. Mm-hmm. You've lived here steadily. What are your thoughts about like how it is, like the number of venues and the variety of things available? What do you think of it right now?
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of leaning towards the optimistic view, you know, of Savannah. I think that there is new places opening all the time. We're sitting in one right now, you know.
Yes.
I mean, there's new places opening all the time.
We're sitting in the room next to Agatha's tea and coffee shop.
Yeah. And you know, it could be a music venue soon.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of things happening. There's new opportunities opening all the time. I personally am really focused, like laser focused on being a producer of quality music events in the city.
Yeah.
You know, in the next, you know, for the future, you know, this last 6 months I've been a part of just big shows that take a lot of energy, but they just, that's what I think the patrons that love music, they'll go to these things. They trust that we're going to do a good job, and that you know, this is a great city. I'm so proud to live here and be a part of the art community, you know, and it feels like it's really supportive and just there's so many lovely people to work with, and it's just okay. Like I'm like the opportunity's there. I'm gonna try to take it and do things.
The direction you're wanting to go in the near future is like more of these kind of bigger specialty shows with lots of people together. Yeah,
or even just smaller, like more intimate, 75 people in a space that maybe that's not the normal case for it, or just putting energy into the community and like our music community and collaborating, and that is what is a huge passion of mine.
If you had like infinite money, what would you do next in Savannah? What would you create?
Savannah?
Yeah.
Infinite money?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess I'd just give everybody a bunch of money and I'd be adored.
Okay.
Everybody. I'd just like okay, everybody gets $100K.
Like a universal basic income.
If you live here and you've been here for 6 months.
Okay.
Okay?
Well, I meant like...
And if you haven't been here for 6 months...
like a music project that you would start, or a venue or something. Like, what would you... Like for the music scene, if you had money.
Okay.
What would you do?
Well, I guess like just put together an orchestra like we just did, and just pick the right singer for the right song. And do it in the Lucas, or do something similar to what just happened. Like that was the greatest thing I've ever been a part of. I think like to count off 1, 2, 3, 4, and 80 people play with you. That's the highest feeling I've ever had, like on a stage, for sure.
And that was very cool that it's multimedia, that there were these little video shorts stuck in there too of people being interviewed.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was great. I think that you know, that would be the way to go for me.
Yeah. Do you have any dream venues you haven't played in yet that you'd really like to?
In Savannah, I have not played at the little Savannah Theater that's downtown, across from McDonough's and Fancy Parker's, like right on that square.
Oh yeah.
Is that what it's
called? The one where they have those long running musicals and things.
Yeah, you know, like that would be cool, because it's just I don't know. I understand it's one of the oldest theaters in the country or something.
I've been in there once for the Savannah Book Festival has used it for speakers before, so I've been in there. Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah, and that would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be a new one. I've weirdly played the Johnny Mercer Theater, it was very strange.
That's in the Civic Center?
Yeah, I played like a couple songs in there. I
hear from somebody else that the acoustics in there are not good.
I'm not sure. I've heard that. I've also seen like awesome shows there. I saw John Prine there. It was great. I just was, I don't know. So
it looks like you won in 2022. You won the Connect Savannah's Best Americana Artist, which is very cool. That's exciting.
That's cool. Hey, sure.
You know, an award.
It didn't hurt me.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? Is there anything else? Any kind of closing thoughts you want to talk about? New directions you're going in, or you kind of alluded when I asked if there was a venue you wanted to play in, and you asked if I'm in Savannah. Is there somewhere outside of Savannah that's a dream for you to play in?
I love these smaller theaters that just are that's what, when I grew up thinking about performing, or it's like being on a stage in a grand, theater that has all that history and that's it. That's so cool. I love those small little movie theater kind of like places too. That you could tell they were a movie theater in the 80s, but before that they were something else, and or maybe I like that. I just love that. Those kind of places.
I used to live there's that Hungry World Theater, that abandoned old theater at like East Broad and Gwinnett. And there's 2 houses next door to it, and I used to live in one of those, and that thing I think is being renovated into something else, but that was like,
I think it's like going to be a restaurant or something.
Is it? Okay. It was originally, I think it was like one of the first black-owned businesses.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be like a
cafe
restaurant.
That was a cool place.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I wish it would just be more than our theater.
I know.
But I'm sure that the restaurant will be great.
Yeah. Well, and anything else you kind of want to leave us with, or an idea of what to, so people can look at your website, right, to see where all you're playing? You play very regularly?
Yeah, I'm not playing a whole lot in January. I kind of use January as my plan and book my dates for 2024 and record music. And that's the one time where I just kind of, I go, okay, like this is time to get the ideas down that you were too busy for.
Yeah.
And
regroup.
And it's like, it's like, there she is, the old guitar. It's just sitting there like out of the case in the corner of the room. I grab it every day.
Yeah. And
I don't do that when I'm playing already 25, 30 hours a week on it.
That makes sense.
As much. Like right now it's like it's calling me.
Yeah. But we'll keep an eye on your Instagram. I know you post. When you start to be booking gigs again, we'll look at your Instagram, and then eventually there'll be news on how to get your album that you're going to work on. It's very cool.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope it's fruitful.
Well, thank you so much, Matt. This has been a pleasure. It's been great talking to you.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.